Hello, and thank you for taking the time today to work on setting up your elementary school gradebook in PowerTeacher Pro. I am Rachel Aker. I'm the ed tech at Joe Harris Elementary, and today we're going to spend a little bit of time setting up the categories that are needed in your gradebook to make sure that the standards-based gradebook works for you. We're going to enter a couple of scores just to practice and delete those assignments later. And I'm going to give you a few time-saving tips for the elementary teacher for using the gradebook. Please feel free during this video to pause, go into PowerTeacher Pro, practice the things that we are doing together, and then come back to the video for the next step. I think that's the best way that we will learn together today. So let's go ahead and go to PowerTeacher Pro Gradebook and get started. Okay, so we are in PowerSchool. Make sure that it says Teacher Sign In, which you will find at powerschool.rrps.net/teachers. Your username is your first dot last, and then your password is when you set. When we sign in, this brings us to a place where we take attendance. From here, the gradebook is in PowerTeacher Pro on the left-hand side menu. We click where it says PowerTeacher Pro, and your PowerTeacher gradebook will launch. Go to Grading on the left-hand side, and then click on Categories. When you first get your gradebook, you will have the default categories shown, like I have here: classwork, project, quiz, and test. We need to create a new category, and then we're going to hide all of these other categories and not use them. So on the upper right-hand side, we're going to click Create, and then we have the option of assignment and category. We need to click Category. From the category, we're going to first create a formative category, and I'll explain that later. Type formative under the name, make the color blue, keep this as active, and then you'll see here that we can limit the classes. We want to select all classes. So check the box at the top and then all other classes. And then we're going to click away to make that menu go away. So clicking anywhere in the rest of the box. So you'll see it's there, and until I click somewhere outside of the box, that menu doesn't go away. So now I'm going to go to assignment default. So I need to change two things here. Score type, we want to call it points. We want to put 4 points because we grade in a 1 through 4 grade system. 1 being beginning steps, 4 being advanced. And then we want to uncheck count and final grade. And then we click Save. Now we have another category called formative. Now we're going to create another category. So click Create again. Click Category. This one we're going to call Summative. We're going to make the summative category red and keep that active. Remember to select classes, check the one we're in, and all other classes. And then to make this menu go away, we just click somewhere out here in the other part of the box. Now we're going to assignment defaults. Because this is, again, standards-based grading, we're going to select score types, points, score entry points, 4, and this one we do want to count in final grades. Now we have 2 categories added. Formative. Formative is going to be assignments that you are just using for record keeping that don't count in the final grade. And summative is going to be for assignments that you do want to count in the final grade. So the next section, we need to get rid of all of these other categories so that we don't accidentally use them. Click the pencil next to each of these. So I'm going to start with classwork. And I am going to just change it from active to inactive. So I click the box next to inactive and I click Save. And you'll see that it just went away from this menu. I'm going to do it for project as well. Edit and make it inactive. You'll notice that I can't delete these default categories. I just can make them inactive, which hides them. If you make a mistake with other categories or you want to add other categories, you can delete the ones that you create later. So I'm clicking Edit again, click Inactive, save. And then finally for test, pencil, inactive, save. And now you should be left with 2 categories. Okay, we're going to create an assignment. It's best to start in the class that you're going to add the assignment to. So I'm going to pick math, and then I'm going to click the create button. And now from here, instead of category, we're going to click assignment. And you'll notice that it automatically created the assignment for math because that's the subject that I'm in. If that's not the class I want to put it in, or if I want to put it in more than one, if I have more than one math class, then I can select classes from here. Remember that to get this to go away, I click outside that box. I need to name the assignment. I'm going to call it fake assignment, and I'm going to select the category. Here's my new categories. If I click summative, it automatically makes it out of 4 points and count and final grade. It also makes the due date today. The due date will determine what term it's in. Beginning of term 3, for example, you might need to click on this and pick a date that's within term 2, or if you're creating an assignment ahead of time, then you're going to want to date it for correct term. Now below, I can put a description in for the assignment, and then I need to make sure that I put standards with that assignment. The standards are the only thing that publish to the report card, so this is very important. What you'll see here is there are little arrows, and this annotates that any standards listed below that are indented in go into that top standard. So if I have an assignment and it's all 3 of these, I might just click this top standard instead of all 3 because all of these will go together to average to that whole score. For the example, I want to make sure that I click multiple standards so that you can see what it looks like to add scores for them. And then I'm going to save and close. Now to find the assignment, I need to go to grading, assignment list, and then I need to make sure that I'm in the correct term, which you do in this upper right-hand corner dropdown. I find the assignment that I just created. I click on the name, and from here I have all of these columns. The first column is the overall score. In Rio Rancho Public Schools, our report cards do not feed any information from this column. So this is a great column to just use these special marks that are in the score inspector on the right-hand side, such as missing, collected, late, absent. So I have a couple of missing assignments. This student was absent, this student is missing, and the rest are here. I can mark those. I can select collected, fill up and down, and notice it does not override the ones that I've already put in. The same works for the scores as well. So our first time-saving tip is that when we're entering the scores for each standard, we can use these fill up, down, fill left, right tools. I hover the mouse over the standard if I'm on a computer. It will show me what that standard is. Now I can select the students again that have a grade other than 3, for example, and you can do 0.5s. I'm using the score inspector on the right-hand side. If I use my keyboard, I have to type those 3 strokes. So if this student has a 4, I have to type 4.0 or it will not register. That's why it's best to use the score inspector on the right-hand side, which is very accessible if you're using a tablet or touchscreen device. Once I filled in the ones that aren't 3s, or whatever most of the class has, I can use some time saving here by just selecting 3, filling up and down, and then now it doesn't override those other scores. When I save the score, this overall score column, if I leave it with those marks, then whenever I go to assignments and score sheet and see all of the assignments for the term, it's easier to see what those scores were. If I put scores in there, it is going to show a percentage grade over to the left-hand side. This does not report to the report card. So don't be upset if you 0% or 75%. That is not anything that's going to show up on the gradebook. That is just what PowerTeacher does if it were a traditional gradebook. And now we've added our first assignment. Okay, hopefully you have created your fake assignment and you need to delete it. So I'm just going to show you this last thing on deleting an assignment. From my score sheet, I can click on the name of the assignment and click Go to Assignment. Click on Edit Assignment on the upper right-hand corner. It's so tiny. You might need a magnifying glass to see it. So in the bottom left, you'll see a delete button. This will delete the assignment and all of the scores tied to it. So it will ask you to confirm. Yes, confirm. And it'll ask you again to make sure, because it is going to remove and delete those scores. And I'm going to click yes. And so now I only have my real assignments. So now you are ready to enter some assignments. Okay, just to wrap up, we have those two new categories, formative and summative assessments. That will save you some time in the future. Remember that that score category is just a placeholder. So a good thing to see whenever you're looking at score sheet view, but those 75%, that overall grade does not show up on the report card. You need to have at least one standard tied to any assignment in order for it to publish to the report card. So if you put an assignment in there and there are no standards there, it won't show on the report card. Look for those gears on those standards that show you that there might be other standards that are also averaging into that overall standard. And a few time-saving tips: create some of those assignments ahead of time. Create a bunch of assignments for the semester, for the quarter, the trimester, and then go around with a tablet. Enter assignments as kids are working. You can be adding observational grades in addition to ones that you collect and grade later. That can save you a lot of time. And remember those up, down, and side to side fill arrows. That really will help you save time. And look for further videos for how to copy assignments for saving time for future gradebook assignments. Now you are ready to get going using your PowerTeacher Gradebook for